Go where your best prayers take you, unclench the fists of your spirit and take it easy. Breathe deeply of the glad air and live one day at a time. Know that you are precious and learn to trust. Amen. And I believe Jerry's been at the pulpit again. Holy smokes, he's tall. Good morning to all of you, and especially everyone joining, as always, by way of YouTube and Channel 12. Thank you for worshiping. And I'm very humble this morning, so thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. These are tough sermons to preach. I've thrown out 18 in the last week. But I promise you I'm going to preach, because that's what all the clergy are trained to do. And I want you to think about something with me. And I've been pondering this for a while, really about this day, because it's the presentation of Jesus by his parents. The old world, we called it Candlemas. It's actually, by the way, what started Groundhog's Day. I'll let you look that up, a little teaser. But I want you to think about, do you remember the first day of elementary school? Do you remember the first day of middle school, the first day of college? Do you remember the first time you met the person you're married to, or the person you love the most, or the person you're dating now? How many of you remember the first day on the job of your first job and what that was like? I'm so old, I'm just trying to remember my first job. I don't know about you. Like, what was that? I think it was selling shoes in Memphis. It was something. But you know, those beginnings are incredibly important. And that's what we celebrate today, this feast of the presentation. Those beginnings are often special, aren't they? But they're not equally important, or are they memorable? Sometimes we don't remember them, but it didn't mean they didn't happen. Of course they happened, because they teach us something. This day teaches us something rather subtle and important, and really to the close of the hearts of the clergy colleagues that I share this pulpit with. We preach this over and over. You may hear it, I don't know if you do, but we preach it over and over. The day is a reminder of how life works. All life works by steps. You take a step, and then you take another step. And then after a bit, you find the path you're on. Sometimes we try to change that path, of course, but it is the path of life. Even if you change the path, you're still on a path, you're still taking steps. And one step leads to another and another. And then you know what? All of us have those opportunities to slow down for a minute and realize where we are. Now, we can't just not be captured by the human idea. You do it and I do it. We think we're in charge of everything. We're in control. So that every step you see is consequential. We think we're shaping our destiny. We're making our future. And sure, some decisions are more important than others. What we forget is there's some things that fall right behind that make all of that work out or not work out. That's how life works. And you know, I'm a realist. Of all things, I have a deep spirituality, but it is forged by reality. But it's all okay. Again, we just take steps. You know, in today's gospel, it is a powerful thing we're shown, subtle. We seldom do this service on Sunday. You're aware of that. Because at one time it was a major holiday, major feast. It's not now. That Mary and Joseph take their baby to the temple. That may not sound like much. They have to travel to do it. And she's going for an antiquated reason, probably, that's not practiced any longer. But it was thought that women had to be cleansed, had to go through a purification in order to move on in life after childbearing. So at a prescribed moment, after the baby's birth, off you are to the temple, and Mary and Joseph do it. So here is where I invite you in with the clergy. So subtly, I'm throwing them under the bus, but next week, pay attention. We're asking you to make this a human story. Do not make it magical. Don't lift it beyond its reality, because when you do, you will miss the point every time. And I'm prejudiced enough to say that the majority of Christians seem to do it all the time. What we're trying to do is resist doing what we all do. So we're not being superior, but mindful. Make it real. Mary and Joseph are new parents. Those of you who are parents, do you remember what it was like to have a colicky baby? I do. I'm not being facetious. It was generationally what you did. They were doing what they were supposed to do. Maybe they wanted a night out, a day off, go to brunch. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to go to Jerusalem and sightsee. Make it real. But they took him to the temple. You realize if they had not done that, we might not be here today. Because this is actually the beginning of the real life of Jesus as a human. The other parts are folklore. They're lovely. Oh gosh, I love it. Love Christmas. Love the Magi. Love all that stuff. Can't explain hardly any of it, but I love it. This is the real deal. And I get to say this because you know what? Fire me. I don't know if you can, but maybe, I don't know. I've got a couple of weeks. I'm on the clock till the end of February. You won't see me, but you know, really, when we get down to it, it is a human story, and it's powerful, isn't it? You see, they go for this ceremony, but wrapped in the ceremony is something important. All you young adults, please, parents, all of us grandparents, all of us parents, listen to this. All of you who've raised children, we raise children as a community. They take Jesus, the Jesus, and present him to God. Actually, what they're doing is giving him back to God, just like you do and we do when we bring all of our children to baptism. You see where it came from. It is a ritual, generation to generation, and it is strong. You see, they take him to the temple. They enter him into another path to follow. And I don't mean being religious, being not religious. I mean they are giving him in a way, and he grows into this, doesn't he? Where he pays attention to people of faith. He pays attention to his spiritual depth. If you struggle with religion, join the crowd. Everybody does. But they teach him to pay attention to the person that God has made. They teach him to listen for God's voice. And they do it when he's a baby. And he becomes exceptional for lots of reasons. But this is the base story. You know, in a few weeks, Becca Stevens will be here, and you talking about somebody who can preach and who is a leading light, has been. People know her all over the United States. She's in Nashville, does a great ministry. Please come here at the Literary Festival. But when I was thinking about this thing of journey, taking steps, being on a journey that we're all on, I was thinking about some words she wrote, and I had to look them up, but I found them. She said this in one of her early books: taking this journey and traveling along this path is more than faith, is more about faith than theology, and more about coincidences rather than mere ritual. More about faith than theology. More about coincidences of life than ritual. She is reminding us of something. This path that Jesus walked, the one that we're trying to follow him in, is called living. It is called living. Don't over-spiritualize it where you take it out of the realm of flesh and blood. Because you know what we share here? We share flesh and blood. The highs, the lows, the coincidences, the tragedies, we do them together. That's what communities of faith, thousands, millions of people across this world are doing it right now. All over Knoxville, of all faiths, are doing what we're doing, walking this journey of real life. So you are then called, as I am, to live the life I've been given. And then when we're here, and more importantly, not here, not now. This is the refuel. This is a pit stop. The real work's when you walk out the door for the rest of the week. To people that don't go to church with you, that you may barely know, that you might not like. Who cares? Our work is there. And you know that. I share that with you. But we help each other do what? Live our lives, to make the most of them. And you know, there's a real key to that. A real subtle key that's, again, it's kind of like peeling something. It's on the inside. It's near the seed. and that's this. Let me tell you a story. One of my favorite of King Duncan's, who died recently, he was a great Methodist preacher. He was a local guy, taught many, many people, including me. Jim Sanders and I studied with him, wrote all the time. Brilliant, brilliant. He says this is a true story. We heard him tell it, so I assume it was. In a county courthouse near here, in one of our really small, very rural counties near Knoxville, they did what they do on a Monday morning. They had a trial. So everybody shows up, and they all gather in the courtroom. The witnesses are there. The trial lawyers are there on both sides. The judge are waiting for the judge. He comes in. Everybody does what? They stand up. They sit down. Then he tells them to proceed. The next thing that happens is the first lawyer up, calls his witness. Robert, you got this. All you lawyers get this. Calls his first witness. And he comes up, this young man comes up, and what's he supposed to do? Put his hand on the Bible? Guess what? It's not there. The Bible that has been there for decades is not there. Well, they all stop and don't know what to do. Well, they look at the judge and they're going like, and he says, everybody, wait a minute. And he tells them, look. So they start looking. They literally start looking for this Bible. Well, 1 minute comes into 5, 5 turns into 10. And finally, the judge is thinking, have no idea. And so he asks, does anybody have a Bible? Well, amazingly, no one has a Bible in the courthouse. So he says, I have not done. So he whispers, true story, calls the bailiff up, and he says, go down to one of the commissioner's office, go downstairs to the county clerk and get Ed and bring him up. He said, sir, he said, just go get Ed and bring him up. He said, okay. Tells everybody to wait. So Ed comes up, motions him up front, the bailiff, everybody in the court is going, what is he doing? And so when he comes up, the judge says to the audience, to everybody in the court, and addressing Ed, Ed, everybody knows you. You've been an elder in the Baptist church for like 50 years. And more than anyone I know in our community, you have shown more about the Bible to more people than any other Bible that we could find. And he says, so you will make a good substitute for the one we can't find. So the witness puts his hand on Ed's shoulder and takes his oath. I tell that for a reason, obviously. The subtle little piece of the seed that germinates for centuries, for over 2,000 years, day by day with all Christians. You see, the real ingredient to the whole equation is you. Look at the people beside you, not your family. It's you. It's us. It's the people who gather like this, week in and week out. See, we're sharing a faith journey. Of course we are. It's about the Bible stories. I get that. But what we try to do always is make that come alive in our lives. Not just how does it apply. It's always like we're trying to take a lesson. I don't know. Sometimes I don't get the lesson until 2 weeks later. But if I pay attention, it comes alive in me. But you understand the real document. The real Bible is you. Did you miss that? That's the document God is working on. The other one's written. You are the living Bible that God is working on. Do you know where I heard that? The last day of my seminary career. Never forgotten it. The people in front of you are the document. There's nothing more important than those people. I had good teachers. Remember how Tom, where's Tom, starts us every Sunday when he preaches? Powerful thing he says. You can see when we could find no one else, we brought Tom. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, we brought Tom because of that, because he brought us such humor, so thank you. And he brought us this. What does he say? Every living creature is a book about God and is a book of God. You see, Tom has given us a gift, an insight that is about us. And he really gave me that gift, I have to tell you. It changed my preaching, changed the way I thought about it. It challenged me. It thought, gosh, we're not making anything. We don't make widgets. We don't make people. We're just trying to help each other along. And Tom, Chris, Jerry, every clergy person I know that has been here, going back to Frank Servanty, I feel like I'm finishing that era. Frank Servanty to Dan Matthews, Jim Sanders, and now me. We're dedicated to that point. That dedication, that loyalty will still be here. But I think the future will be a new future. And I'm so excited about it. You see, faith journeys, church is about what? Relationships. It's nothing more, but it is all that and more. It is always about relationships. So, as we begin this path and stay on it, each day we try to help each other just navigate it. That's what we're doing. We're just navigating. We're navigating this journey called life and applying always this lens of God's presence, the very thing that Jesus did and tried to ask people to do all the time with him. Beginnings. Beginnings. For Lois and me, what was it? December 22nd. Wow, 1985. And now it's an ending, and that's good. My poet, philosopher, candy salesman, beyond all, Rick Jenkins says everybody needs to retire. And he's right. But today, don't miss it. It's not a burial, guys. Thank God. Thank me. I am alive. And by the way, it's not a coronation. Some of you know that my buddy Steve Bailey, our senior warden, I thought he was going to give me a scepter. No, he gave me a toilet plunger. So, Chris, I hate to tell you, I don't have a scepter to hand off to you. You can have a toilet plunger. You've afforded me a career that no one else has in the church. I have no parallels. I have a couple of guys that are my age, have been in their jobs this long, pretty close. One is Sam Candler down in Atlanta. We started out as deans together, but he wasn't in the place he was before, and I am. It's an incredible thing because, see, I'm in the fourth generation of families. So many of you are new, and you're the lifeblood of always the growth. Look at us. Look at the number of children we have now. It's fabulous, and you've done it. Don't ever forget, people come to church by attraction. You attract them. You do. Our job is just to be not too stupid. Your job is to fulfill your faith, and you're doing it. And people come to you. All of you young folks back there, they're coming because you're inviting your friends. That's how it works. Always worked that way. It's not complex. There's not some magic you can spring or teach some new program. It's not a program. It is not a program. It's not promotion. It's us living our faith. That's what people want to see. And together we've had great triumphs, and we've had some failures, some pretty big ones. But out of those failures, they were our best teacher. You taught me that, and I think I've learned it with many of you. Live through the failures. They're okay. You just got it wrong. Let's get it right the next time. Let's make it better. And we've worked hard to making a steady place based and rooted in one perspective always. And you don't have to agree with me. We're here to care and have compassion. I need it every day. I need to be reminded your job, John Ross, as a Christian, is to suit up in care and compassion. I bet there are days your tank is empty. Mine is. Not only with my family, but the people I don't even know is there. But I know I hold myself to that standard. And we've kept it together, often through very tough pastoral sorrows. Man, we've had a lot. But we've also had great, great joy, tons of joy. And together we've held an openness to growth and change. And in some unusual way to hang on to all these old vestments and tradition. Vergers and bells and whistles, and yet they blend together in a perfect harmony of something timeless, something traditional, but always fresh and new. And the other thing that you have done is to provide leadership. Remember, it is not about leaders. That's politics. That's Hollywood. That's somewhere else. Here, it's not about the leader. It is, Jim Haslam's taught us all this as really one of our predominant teachers of this in this community. It is about leadership. And I'll remind you that leadership, all leaders also follow, or they're not leaders. So every one of you is tasked with that job every day, to be a leader and a follower. And there are plenty of times I sit in the back seat. There are times I'm in the front seat. It's all good. See, we're on the ride together. We are an old congregation continually learning new ways. And you have given great support to the staff. I cannot tell you, working with this crew, they keep me alive and keep me young. They do. They're so much fun. And one of you was commenting the craziness of parking, and there's Cody out there with a big smile, and on top of it, just on top of it, that's how we work together. And we are a team. They think of team. There is not an I in team. It's not a joke. We are a group. We are colleagues together, and they're good at it. They really are good at it. You know, we've had lots and lots of fun, and thank you for CB and all of y'all doing that. And you know I love the Rolling Stones, so I appreciated that. Little Rolling Stones. I'm not a Facebook. Several of you had to say, hey, we love the video. I didn't know what you're talking about, so I had to go look. But I was thinking about all the fun things we've done, and it's been a ton of them. You know, next Sunday, it'll be 5 o'clock at some point. 5 a.m. And Lois will tell you, because she has bags under her eyes, that I will be awake. And in fact, I wake up before the alarm most of the time. Only one time I've missed it in all these years. And I'll be ready to go. Well, that's an exaggeration. But after 2 cups of coffee, I'll be ready to go. But my engine is on. I like being here. In fact, you have given me the privilege to come do a job that every day I've enjoyed. I've not enjoyed every piece. That would be silly. I've never not wanted to come to work. Never not wanted to. But next Sunday, I will not be here. I bet that's a surprise. And I'll be vacant for a while, but we're not leaving. Lois and I live here with our family, our granddaughter, Andy. But I promise you this. If I wake up at 5, like lots of you surgeons and early bird people, my heart will be here. I want you to make a promise to me. You keep your heart here. That's the best thing I can think of right now. Amen.